Welcome to the Peach State and the city of Atlanta, Georgia, home of the 39th Chick-fil-A Bowl, where 8-4 Georgia squares off against 10-2 Virginia Tech. The fans are in full force and ready to go as we have a sellout crowd for the 10th consecutive year. It's a showdown of the SEC versus the ACC, and we're fixing for a memorable bowl moment of our own.
Championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it.
Allen with a great return. Already in field goal range. And will it go the distance? Pete Allen does it.
Unbelievable.
Touchdown. Touchdown. He might go. Sanders easily. First down. Touchdown. And that's number 5.
Tonight, the Georgia Bulldogs, who knocked off number 5 Auburn and number 16 Georgia Tech to end the season, hope that their freshman quarterback Matthew Stafford can remain mistake-free against the nation's number 1 defense, Virginia Tech. The Hokies, winners of their last 6 contests, had been stifling their opponents, allowing only 4.8 points a game. Brandon Orr, the ACC's second leading rusher, powers the Hokie ground attack with 99.5 yards a game. But he'll have a battle in store against Trey and the Georgia D, who are second in the SEC in yards per game, allowing only 264. Y'all don't want to miss it. Bulldogs, Hokies, the Chick-fil-A Bowl is next. It's a great thing that we're indoors tonight in the Georgia Dome, because outside the weather is frightful. Heavy fog and mist. Inside, well, the weather is delightful and the atmosphere is absolutely off the charts. Why? It's the SEC and the ACC. Georgia against Virginia Tech in this Chick-fil-A Bowl game for 2006. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin, and welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. And as I said during the rehearsals, and I think I'll keep the line, it would be a very good idea if everybody watching this game tonight had to put on a chin strap, because we got a couple of defenses that are going to go head-to-head tonight that absolutely will not fool around with you. Ed Cunningham joins me on the telecast as usual. And to me, the best 2 matchups of the night are the 2 offenses of each team going up against the 2 defenses of each team. That, to me, is the bottom line in the show this evening.
And the one thing that everybody's been talking about all week is how the number 1 defense of the Hokies are in town. Well, let's not forget Georgia's number 9 in the country, and they've taken it as a personal challenge to show what they can do against this Hokie defense. Willie Martinez, the defensive coordinator, talks about how it all starts up front. Everybody knows the name Quentin Moses. He was a preseason All-American after a huge season last year. His number's down a little bit, but Charles Johnson, the nickname given to him by Mark Richt, is the big bully. They've been waiting for this young man to fulfill his promise. He finally has. He's the one who's put up the huge numbers this year.
As far as Virginia Tech is concerned, the story there got off to a good start, and then they lost back-to-back games, and everybody said, how? This is such a good club. Coming down the stretch, they not only have been good, and they've been devastatingly good, particularly on the defensive side of the ball.
In the 6 games that they've won, Ron, they've only given up 29 points in those 6 ball games. 2 touchdowns given up, and they've scored 2 defensive touchdowns, so they washed it out. They come into tonight number 1 in every major statistical category on defense. This team, there was bickering amongst the players. It could have gone either way, but it came down to these 2 linebackers. Not only 2 of the best in the conference, 2 of the best in the country. Vince Hall led the ACC in tackles. Xavier Adibi at 221 pounds can flat out fly.
Here come the Bulldogs. End zone. Here come the Hokies. Well, it's time to go down to the sideline, and the third member of our broadcast team, if he can hear us, our favorite doctor, Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry, what do you got for us?
Thank you very much, Ron. What atmosphere here at this Dome. You know, with two of the top 10 defenses in the nation on the field here tonight, the offenses will certainly have their work cut out for them. You know, the Hokies of Virginia Tech will lean heavily on All-Atlantic Coast Conference tailback Brandon Orr, who rushed for over 1,000 yards this year, including 203 yards against conference rival Clemson, who at the time had the #1 ranked rushing defense in the nation. And then in mid-November, he sustained a serious left high ankle sprain at Wake Forest. He has not played since. He returns to action tonight, but will he be 100%? For the Bulldogs of Georgia, it has been a maturation process for true freshman quarterback Matthew Stafford. Now, early on, this talented Texan lacked game experience, and he certainly had the turnovers to prove it, but he has been almost flawless down the stretch, leading his team to upset wins over nationally ranked Auburn and Georgia Tech. Ron, he will need to duplicate that kind of performance here tonight as he faces the #1 defense in the nation.
All right, Jerry, for Georgia, they look to become the first Georgia team to defeat 3 ranked opponents in a row, something that they have never done. And how about Virginia Tech? Well, believe it or not, they have never won back-to-back bowl games, so that is their hurdle and also their goal this evening. So a reminder, this telecast available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Plasma. Well, the Chick-fil-A bowl game always seems to be a tight one. SEC leads it 8-6. They lead in points scored. Bowl averages, well, 70,487. That is the most for any non-BCS. The victory margin has been 8.4, the closest of all the bowl games. And tonight, the 10th consecutive sellout here in Atlanta. To say that they embrace this bowl game is a mild exaggeration. As you look at Mark Richt, 6th season as the head man in Athens. His record 60-17. His bowl record 3-2. And across the way, the veteran in his 20th season as the head coach at Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer. His record 156, 81-2, and his bowl record 6-7.
Unbelievable with the retirement of Fisher DeBerry that Frank Beamer trails only Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno for longest tenure at one school. It's been an amazing run for Frank Beamer. It didn't quite start out that way, but he's built a heck of a program.
So Georgia won the toss tonight, and they have elected to defer. And this is Andy Bailey, who has the ball teed at the 35. And the Bulldogs and the Hokies are set to go. It's a spinner, a short kick, going to come down at the 6-yard line, and that's Morgan. Josh Morgan gets a block to the outside, 25, and is belted out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Well, the Virginia Tech season recap: 10-2, 6-2 in the conference. That's second in the Coastal Division. They started the season 4-0, and then they peaked at number 11 in the poll. They lost to Georgia Tech and crushed by BC. And then defensive coordinator Bud Foster said, guys, I'm going to take away the lunch pail. It's going to be mine. It's going to be an 11-man thing each ball game. So led by their defense, the Hokies won their last 6 holding opponents to under 5 points a ball game. Play action to Orr. Pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage. That's going to be Charles Johnson who will get a hand on it. So for Georgia, their season recap.
I'm Brandon Orr, running back for Virginia Tech. About to introduce you to my offense. Starting with the offensive line, we got Big Dwayne Brown holding down that right side. Moving to the skill position, we got Josh the Man-Child Morgan, and we got the field runner, Sean Glennon.
Audible being called by Sean Glennon, and it is very noisy in the Georgia Dome. On second down, short drop, puts up a fade, and then in it out of the hands of Josh Morgan's hands. And I mean, the ball was thrown perfectly in.
This much electricity in the building, Ron. You've got to make plays early. Charles Johnson, and there may be a late flag. I think that they were jawing a little bit at the end of the play there.
John Bible A veteran referee out of the Big 12 Conference.
And personal foul number 2 on the offense.
Yeah. Josh Morgan, that's 2 mistakes.
The down counts, 4th down.
So it was a post-play foul.
Well, and he went to the head of Paul Oliver. 2 mistakes. Morgan drops the ball and then hits the head of Oliver. And it was a dead ball foul, so Ron, not only get the penalty, now you're punting from near your own goal line. That's a big mistake.
Actually, I said 4th. It is only 3rd, but they've got 3rd and a mile. They've got to take it all the way out to the 37-yard line. Running play as they stay conservative, and Orr will be tackled before he gets out of bounds. Out at the 19-yard line, Tony Taylor was the man who was there to make the hit.
Well, and you can't blame Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, for going conservative there. Brandon Orr, we heard from Dr. Punch, still battling that ankle injury. We'll see. Couldn't really tell there if he's 100%, but they just needed to get some distance for their punting unit.
Nick Schmidt, 6'2", 276. He's a left footer. We asked Frank in the meeting yesterday, have you already recruited another left footer? He said, I've recruited a good kicker, but he's a right footer. We went, oh, but does he weigh 280?
No. 12 years in a row they've had a left footer.
Henderson, the man deep. This ball is going to turn over. Long driving kick all the way back to the 32. Henderson looks for a block, cuts it back into the middle, and is going to be stopped short of the 30-yard line. So here's a recap on the Georgia season. 8-4, that's regular season. 4-4 in the SEC. That's 4th in the SEC East. They started the season 5-0, and the quarterback carousel began. Joe Tarasenski, Matthew Stafford, and Joe Cox all playing. Then they lost 4 of 5, including losses to Vanderbilt and Kentucky. And they finished the year upsetting number 5 Auburn and number 16 Georgia Tech. So let's see if that momentum carries over to the bowl game. The shotgun, quick pass over the middle, and the ball is dropped. So now let's meet the Georgia offense.
How you doing, guys? I'm Martrez Miller, University of Georgia tight end number 87. Representing the offense. Up front, we have Nick Jones, our captain. Quarterback, Matt Stafford, the specimen. And running back, Craig Lumpkin, the Mack truck.
The specimen.
And the Mack truck at 225. Lumpkin started the last 8 ball games after a great second half against Colorado to help in that victory.
From the shotgun, they go with the running play to Lumpkin. Lumpkin breaks it open. 50, 45, and is going to be tackled down around the 40-yard line. So a misdirection play. 26 yards, and the Bulldogs with the initial first down.
And this is something that Georgia struggled with, especially during that 4 of 5 losing streak. Missed tackle, and that's what you're going to see. Such a long layoff, Ron. A lot of times you wonder how crisp the tackling is going to be early in a game. Virginia Tech, one of the best tackling teams in the country, missed a tackle right at the line of scrimmage, and Lumpkin goes 26 yards because of it.
So for the first time tonight across midfield, you see that defense moving around at the last minute. Pressure on the quarterback. He steps up, gets the ball complete. Good for the first down to Massaquoi. And let's meet the Virginia Tech defense.
What's up? My name is Vince Hall. I'm a linebacker for Virginia Tech. And I'm going to introduce you to the number 1 defense in the nation. First up, we got the Head Busters, number 96, Nolan Burchett, a.k.a. Mentor. Next up, we got the Heavy Hitters, number 11, Xavier Debe, a.k.a. Golden Child. And last but not least, we got D-Block, number 18, Brandon Flowers, a.k.a. Dot.
All right. So Georgia right now trying to make an early statement in this ball game. First down at the Tech 28. They keep it on the ground with Lumpkin. He will be hit at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain of a half yard as Vince Hall and Debe combined on the stop.
It's so hard early.
Here comes a late flag. I'm sorry, in the secondary. In fact, a helmet came off.
Yeah. Well, that was Fernando Velasco going downfield. I believe he was locking up with Brandon Flowers. And these officials from the Big 12, Ron, they don't want this to get out of hand early. They've got to get these guys settled down a little bit.
John Bible actually is a longtime friend, and he is not only a good official, but he really is a no-nonsense guy as well.
After the play ended, there were personal fouls on both teams. Number 75 on the offense, number 36 on the defense. Those penalties canceled. It's second down.
Well, that was Aaron Rouse that Fernando Velasco got tied up with.
Velasco, a very important member of this offensive line, because with Ian Smith not with the club, having been suspended, Velasco is the backup center and also guard. Second down, about 9.5 for the Bulldogs. No score early going, and it has been tense on the field and in the stands as well. Play action, pass thrown complete, Massaquoi, and he will be stopped down around the 22-yard line by Brendan Hill. To talk about the pressure on a freshman quarterback, and you know the old saying, the greatest thing about freshman quarterbacks, they become sophomores. But normally by this time of year, you know, by bowl time, they have matured some.
You know what they had to get out of him? That 6 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, Ron, it's because of his talent. And Mike Bobo, who's now the play caller, offensive coordinator, and also the quarterback coach, had to get some of his out of his head that you can't make every throw. Sometimes throwing it away is the best throw.
Third down, and Ed, they need to take it to the 18-yard line. Again for the shotgun formation. Stafford retreats over the middle, and he threw that one way too tall. Chris Durham is the man that he wanted. Brandon Flowers was the closest man to it.
Well, and it's worth mentioning that Georgia gets their kicker back. Brandon Coutu, who has been so consistent, who pulled a hamstring before Tennessee. He has not kicked since Ole Miss on September 30th. Finally healthy. This guy's been almost automatic for them all year.
I know the coaching staff, particularly the head coach, was very excited about this prospect. Ball will be placed down at the 29. 39-yard attempt. Got plenty of distance. And he's got it. 10:49 left in this opening quarter, and it is Georgia who goes on the board first. 3-0 Bulldogs. Our score, Georgia 3, Virginia Tech 0. Let's go to the sideline. Dr. Jerry Punch with a very special guest. Jerry?
Thanks, Ron. How about the 1982 Heisman Trophy winner Herschel Walker playing for the Georgia Bulldogs? And Herschel, your impressions of this true freshman quarterback for the Dogs, Matthew Stafford?
Well, I've been impressed with Matthew since high school. I had an opportunity to watch him there in Highland Park. You know, being in Dallas, I tell you what, the guy's got an arm. The guy's an innate leader. I tell you, that's what a team like Georgia wants. They want a guy that can throw the ball, that's a leader, because they got a great coach, and you mix it with a great quarterback, and you're going to do some good things.
Josh Morgan on the return. He'll take it out over the 27-yard line. And, Jerry, let's go back to you.
Herschel, how has college football changed the most in your mind since you stopped playing back in '82?
Well, I think it become a little bit more of a bigger business. And not saying I was in the caveman day, but I think with television, you know, now the people, the fans get an opportunity to watch a little bit more football, which I think is even better because you can become a student of the game. And I think the players have gotten better, they've gotten bigger, they've gotten faster. And I tell you what, it is, you see a lot of good football today.
After the play, I want to ask you one more question if you'll hang with us. Ron?
Okay, Jerry, first down. The line of scrimmage is the 28. And they keep it on the ground. A running play will only go for a couple of yards. And, Jerry, quickly back to you.
Herschel, I got to ask you before I let you go, what advice would you have for the youngsters watching around the country who are dreaming someday of winning a Heisman or maybe becoming the next Herschel Walker? What do you say to these youngsters out there playing in the backyards?
Well, I think the first thing I have to say is put their priorities straight. I think right now you see today kids using a lot of enhancing drugs to overcome. That's one thing that I start out first saying you cannot do that. If you're going to do that, I say you're a wimp. You're not any good. My take on that is I think anyone that does that need to be kicked out of the league. And then I think guys just go out and do the very best, believe in themselves.
Herschel, thanks for joining us. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jerry, thank you. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage and falls helplessly at the 35. So now a very big third down play coming up. for Sean Glennon and the Virginia Tech offense.
Yeah, and the one thing Willie Martinez, the defensive coordinator from Georgia, said that they really helped them at the end of the season was being able to get pressure and push in the middle without having to bring pressure. The Georgia front has gotten much better down the stretch. Now in a 3rd and 8 situation with Charles Johnson, you don't have to blitz. I think they need to move Glennon out of the pocket here, Ron. I wouldn't let him stand in the pocket against, especially with all the energy in this building.
Cade Weston is the man who got a hand on that ball just a moment ago and tipped it. 3rd down, line to make is out at the 38. Georgia 3, Virginia Tech nothing. And a timeout has been called, and the ball was snapped, and the referee says no. I had blown the whistle. Play never occurred.
Before the snap, timeout was called.
The expression on Glennon's face was, though, the ball went over his head, and defensively Georgia picked it up, but it was like, please tell me there is a timeout. 3-0 Georgia. 9:31 left opening quarter. During the holidays, Atlanta Centennial Olympic Park has transformed into a winter wonderland, glittering with thousands of dazzling lights, and it holds Atlanta's only outdoor ice skating rink. 3rd down, Virginia Tech, and they're hoping they can take some ice off their offense. Gonna run, Glennon gonna have the 1st down. There is the initial 1st down of the night. Paul Oliver came over to cover him, but we'll see what this does for the Hokies.
Well, the middle of the defense spreads out. An excellent job by the right guard, Sergio Render. It wasn't a true blitz, Ron, but they brought a rusher late, the 4th rusher. Render held his position, washed him right by, and that just opened up the middle for Glennon.
Nope, they hand it off. Flag comes down, and the running play is going to be stopped for no gain at all. Jarvis Jackson there to make the tackle. And it's going to be holding against Virginia Tech.
I believe it may have been McGrath, the center.
Holding 69 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Working on Ray Gant, senior defensive tackler, who's really picked up his game. Both of these defenses, Ron, you know, when both of these teams were teetering in the middle of the season, both defensive coordinators talk about the middle of their defensive lines getting better because they had the talent on the outside. Virginia Tech with those great linebackers, Georgia with the great defensive ends, but they just weren't getting the productivity in the middle. They started a rotation with Gant and Jeff Owens. They've got a young guy that they put in there, a true freshman. They have Dale Dixon, a senior, and they've just gotten so much more productivity out of that 2 and 3 technique.
1st down, but they got to take it all the way across midfield to the 49. High formation, handed off to Brandon Orr, and Orr is going to be knocked down for no gain. All righty. Well, interesting situation, Reese. Coach Knight trying to ice the situation, and the Lobos may ice the situation first. That pass thrown complete right there to Eddie Royal. And let's meet the Georgia defense now.
What's up, everyone? I'm Trey Battle, number 25, starting row for the University of Georgia. Up front, we have our 2 DNs, the big bully, Charles Johnson, and the sack master, Quentin Moses. In the linebacker corps, we have senior linebacker Tony Taylor, the professor. In the secondary, we have myself and 3 other guys, ready for everything.
Myself and 3 other guys.
Yeah.
Just 3 guys.
Yeah. Well, Trey Battle had such an excellent game against Auburn. 3 interceptions, tied the Georgia record right now. In a 3rd and 14 situation, he's going to be in the middle of the field playing deep safety.
So let's see what happens with the shotgun formation. Pressure off the corners. Pass is thrown complete, and that's Brandon Orr, but he'll be stopped well short by middle linebacker Jarvis Jackson.
And Sean Glennon should have hung in there a little bit, Ron. He had a couple of guys coming deep. Josh Morgan was beyond the sticks, about to run a cut in, and he dumped it off. It felt like he had a little more time. I think both these teams showing the rust of being off for such a long time.
Interesting, though, the freshman quarterback has shown a little more poise than has Sean Glennon so far. Mikey Henderson, the deep man for the Georgia Bulldogs. Schmidt waits for the ball. His last kick, a very good one. A spiral that turned over. And they've got the return on. This one will do the same. Driving kick all the way back to the 5-yard line. Fields on the 5, gets by 1, will not get by the 3rd. It is tackled at the 9-yard 50-yard line by Vince Hall. Let's take a break. Bulldogs lead it 3-0. That was a 50-yard punt. But you're looking at a shot of the largest aquarium in the world. Georgia leads it 3-0. Big enough to house some very large whale. Brandon Fry back in the ball game at left tackle for Virginia Tech. This is the best starting point that they've had on the night. See if they can take advantage. As they go from their own 41. Lennon with an audible.
Virginia Tech's waiting to see what Georgia does defensively, and they're changing the play right before the snap.
Hit behind the line of scrimmage, Brandon Orr. He's not going anywhere. So far, Willie Martinez, everything that Virginia Tech has tried to dial up, it's like he's been in the huddle with the tackle made by Moses.
Moses lined up right to the outside, just going to knife inside. Boy, that's just horrible blocking out there. Dwayne Brown just let him sneak right to the inside, Ron. They're running just a zone scheme. Moses very athletic on a slant to that side. Good call by Martinez, but Brown's got to get a helmet on him.
So much for that good field position. They lose 5 on first down, so it's 2nd down and 15. From the shotgun, Glennon near sideline has it complete to Morgan, and Morgan will take it back to a couple of yards beyond where the original line of scrimmage was. And let's check in again with Jerry Punch.
And Ron, as you mentioned, the Virginia Tech Hokie offensive line already struggling a little bit, and now that Brandon Fry has once again gone to the bench, complaining of a left ankle sprain. He sprained an ankle against Miami, hurt it in the previous series, tried to come out, as you said a moment ago, and play. He's had to go back to the sideline, and the sophomore Nick Marshman taking his place at a critical left tackle position.
And this is exactly what Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, said they didn't want to do against Georgia, is get into drop back pass situations. I think they've got to try a screen or something. They can't stand in the pocket against this rush.
3rd down, they need to 49. Looking, drills the ball, thrown completely away from Royal, the intended receiver. Not even close there as Brian Evans, the redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, was there to make the cover. This already is the 3rd punt early in this ball game for Virginia Tech. We have 1:39 showing on the clock opening quarter.
Well, and you hit it right on the head. We've got a sophomore quarterback at Virginia Tech, Glennon, first-year starter. Matthew Stafford, true freshman, first-year starter. It looks like Glennon is the freshman. He just does not look, even when they're giving him time, Ron, he doesn't look good in the pocket.
Henderson again, the deep man. Schmidt waits for the snap. Left footer, and again, the punt's going to turn over. Fair catch is signaled for and made at the 15-yard line by Henderson. So here's a preview of the New Year's Day Capital One Bowl game from Orlando, Florida, with number 12 Arkansas taking on number 6 Wisconsin on ABC at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Badgers finished 11-1 and won 11 games in regular season for the first time in their campaign under Brett Bielema. And of course, P.J. Hill, what a year he had. Only a freshman. McFadden, we got to see him in person. What a great year he had.
How many guys have we seen, Ron, since the game we did against Tennessee where Darren McFadden lined up at the quarterback position? Almost every team with a good running back doing that now.
Back in the pocket, gets it in the flat. Intercepted by Virginia Tech, and that's Brendan Hill, the redshirt senior linebacker out of Newport News, Virginia.
Well, this is exactly the defense that Matthew Stafford said he had a hard time figuring out. Virginia Tech runs what's called an inverted cover 2, where the cornerbacks actually bail out and become the deep safeties, and the outside linebackers sprint to where the cornerbacks were to play the flat. Hill, a former wide receiver and safety, an excellent read on this ball. Stafford never saw the outside linebacker over there. That's a freshman mistake.
And what did Georgia say yesterday? With the youth at quarterback, whatever we do, don't force the issue.
Especially on your side of the field, Ron, and that was the key to that 2-game win streak. No interceptions, first one in 3 games.
Sam Wheeler, the tight end, flips from the right side over to the left. They'll hand it off to Orr, runs it into the boundary. A couple of side steps, and he'll wind up with a gain of 4, maybe 5 yards on the play. Tony Taylor comes over from his linebacking spot to make the tackle. This is the first trip for Virginia Tech into Georgia territory.
Personal foul was called, Ron. after the play. Well, and you can't. Boy, if they called a personal foul on that, I mean, I know, listen, you don't want it to get out of hand, but that's just two guys putting their hands on each other. That's an awfully tough call to go half the distance to the goal for that.
Well, the penalty takes it down to the 6-yard line, so it is now 1st and goal, Virginia Tech. So back-to-back mistakes on back-to-back plays. First an interception, and then a personal foul called on the Bulldogs, and a short trip for the Hokies. And the Bulldogs rise up and keep them out of the end zone. Weatherford in motion, the fullback. They run behind his block. It's Orr at the 4, maybe to the 3-yard line, and that's it. As Trey Battle, the first man to come over and make the hit. And the book on him as we hit the end of the quarter is, don't tell him that there's something he can't do, because Trey Battle will prove you wrong. Let's take a timeout as we head to the second 15 minutes of play. It is 3-0 Georgia, but Virginia Tech threatening on the lip of the cup. We'll be right back. So we're back at Atlanta, Georgia 3-0 as we start the second quarter. And the first quarter on offense had Virginia Tech had total offense of 40 yards, minus 23 yards in penalties. So 17 yards is what they could account for. But 2 back-to-back errors, an interception and then a personal foul against Georgia. And as a result, the ball is inside the 5.
And on 2nd and goal, Ron, this is where the play action has to come into play. You've got an I formation. 2 wide receivers, tight end. I don't think you waste a run here. I think you try to throw this one into the end zone.
Glennon again flips the tight end Wheeler. He comes into the boundary, the short side of the field. And that's Royal in motion. Play action looking to the end zone. Got a man, throws to the fullback, and Weatherford well underthrown right as he got across the goal line. So it's Trey Battle who was there with the cover, and now it's a 3rd down situation.
Well, and Sean Glennon's got to settle down, Ron. He's not confident in the pocket right now. He had Sam Wheeler, his tight end, running open on the corner route, and he just wouldn't pull the trigger. He's not trusting his eyes. He's in his head right now.
Justin Harper checks into the ballgame, number 81. Now he is a 6'4" receiver and would be perfect for a fade route here. Glennon 3 of 8 for 21 yards and has missed his last 3 attempts. Hands it to Orr, right side at the 2, at the 1, will not get into the end zone, and it's going to be 4th down. Ed,
I think you go.
You go for it?
Yeah, I think you go here.
I think that's the signal that Frank Beamer has just given his charges. Tony Taylor and Trey Battle combining on the stop.
You're going into your own end zone. There's a good sea of orange and maroon behind your goal line, so noise should not be a problem, and this could get that crowd, your crowd, back into it. I like this call by Frank Beamer. And I think you go straight ahead, Ron. If penetration can kill you, I think you just go straight ahead from this power eye.
Hand it off to Orr, hit at the line of scrimmage, 2nd effort, touchdown, Virginia Tech. Jarvis Jackson made the collision first, but could not maintain his position or his ground, and Brandon Orr scored it.
Well, Brandon Orr is a good combination of both power and speed. That's what makes him first-team All-ACC, even despite the injury that Dr. Punch talked about. That time he gets hit behind the line of scrimmage and keeps fighting through. Good job by the offensive line, too. They kept pushing, Ron, because it could have blown up.
From the sky cam, you could see also that once he got hit at the line of scrimmage, all of a sudden he really started to turn the legs. That was enough impetus to push him into the end zone. Rinder, number 70, with a very good block. And he is being helped off the field right now, and the trainers will get a look at him. Brandon Pace to attempt the extra point, trying to make it a 7-3 Virginia Tech game, and he does. So as we go to break, let's take another look at the interception that set up this touchdown. Ball picked off right there by Brendan Hill. Seven to 3 now. Virginia Tech takes the lead.
Well, if you look at this defense, I was talking about how it's an inverted two. It's unusual to see. Watch Macho Harris as he comes backing out. Hill's going to go to trail. He's taking the underneath. So you have two corners that are backing out to be the deep safeties. It's a very different defense that quarterbacks are not very used to seeing. And he just didn't see Hill coming underneath Martrez Milner.
Asher Allen just inside the 10 and breaks the tackle at the 20, 25-30. And finally stopped out at the 33-yard line. So 27 yards on the return by Allen. Game track. Here's how things have gone so far. The interception by Hill. You can see Milner is the man he was intending to pass for. Milner did not even have time enough to react to play defensive back. And then Orr, with a second effort, pushes it into the end zone. And that's how we stand.
Yeah, Frank Beamer deciding to go for it on 4th and 1 into his own end zone with the fans down there. And it was that second effort. You pointed it out. As soon as he got stopped, he kicked his feet into high gear and was able to finish it off.
So Nick Jones comes out over the football. Senior out of Bowden, Georgia. He is the main man up there as they go with the running play. And Lumpkin is not going to have anything at all as the tackle is made by Corey Robertson. And now I have to wonder. Momentum just a touch has slipped over on the side of Virginia Tech. Now if Stafford has a little bit more pressure on him, and let's see how he handles it.
Well, and also, Ron, you got to wonder, he had such a good little run there at the end of the season. He had a 3-game stretch where he threw 8 interceptions, and then he went interception free. Is it in his head now that he misread a coverage and threw a pick?
Second down, they need to take the ball out to their own 43-yard line. Play clock shows 5 seconds. Going to give it to Lumpkin again. Nothing right up the middle. Tries to get it outside. Flag comes down, but it's a DB who was outside to spin him down for a loss. But again, it was Robertson.
On the offense, the penalty is declined, 3rd down.
And with the loss on the play, with the tackle by a DB, obviously they're going to turn it down to make a 3rd down and long.
Well, Bud Foster, the fine defensive coordinator from Virginia Tech, we did the game earlier in the year against Wake Forest. He said that a DB is playing at a very fast pace.
Ron Franklin, along with Ed Cunningham and Dr. Jerry Punch, coming to you from the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. As we mentioned off the top of the telecast, very, very foggy and rainy in the Atlanta area, but playing inside in the Georgia Dome, the weather's absolutely perfect, and this is a wonderful atmosphere. Play action. Stafford rolls to his right, throws long into double coverage, and the ball almost picked off.
If I'm Mike Bobo, I would get that young man on the phone right now and tell him, Matthew, that is what got you in trouble during that 4-game stretch or 5-game stretch where we lost 4 ball games. This is a terrible decision. Falling backwards, he saw that the safety was over there, Roland Minor and DJ Parker. That's a bad throw.
Bobo is the man who holds the record for interceptions at Georgia with 17. And Stafford said to him jokingly, Coach, at the rate it's going, I'm going to catch your record. And Bobo said, no, you're not. And he said, why? He said, because I'm going to take you out. That's why.
They won't take him out of this game because he's the guy.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying it.
No, but I'm saying throws like that may make him want to rethink it.
Here's the kick. Line drive. Retreating all the way to the 13-yard line is Royal. Gets by one tackler, and here he comes. One man to beat. And will be pushed out of bounds around the 35-yard line. Again, Marcus Brown with the defensive stop. 54 yards in the kick. 54 on the return. We'll be right back. So there was no timeout called on the field, and on the running play, Virginia Tech took it for an 8-yard gain. Kenny Lewis in the ball game, number 20, a freshman out of Danville, Virginia. 2nd down and 2. They need to take it to the Georgia 20-yard line. This could be the most important offensive series in the ball game, the way these two defenses are playing. Glennon with the audible. Play clock is at 3, down to 2. He'll give it to Lewis, and they try to sweep. And what a great defensive play, as right there is number 99. And again, Charles Johnson is just Johnny on the spot, making the play and knocking him down for a loss.
The reason that Mark Richt gave Charles Johnson the nickname of Big Bully was there were times in practice last spring, Ron, where they actually had to take him off the field so the offense could get something done. The offensive line, we got the report that Brandon Fry is down, so a couple of backups in there. They're not going to be able to hang with this.
Brandon is back in the ball game right now. On 3rd down conversions, Virginia Tech 1 of 5. Again, they need to take it to the 20-yard line, so it's 3rd and 5. Glennon steps up, drills the ball, has it complete. And boy, this is going to be a very important spot as Royal made the catch, and let's see where they're going to put it down.
I think they're going to be just short, and I wouldn't be shocked if Frank Beamer went for it again, Ron. It's awfully close.
You can see where the yellow line is. And the linesman, now the referee, John Bible, comes over, and they're going to call a timeout and bring the chains from all the way across the way.
If it's not a 1st down, it's just a couple of inches. Frank Beamer down there giving it a good look. But this was good. Glennon finally sits in the pocket, delivers the ball on time. He was struggling with that a little earlier in the game, and that's one of the things that the coaches for Virginia Tech said, is that Glennon's been able to overcome bad starts a little better as the season has progressed. That time he looked very good in the pocket.
Well, they stretch it out. That is a 1st down. You see at the stripe of the football, so by the nose is what they got the 1st down by. And Dr. Jerry Punch, let's check back with you on the sideline.
Hey, Ron, both those offensive linemen, as you mentioned, back in the ballgame. Brandon Fry, sprained left ankle. He may not be able to go very long. Sergio Render, likewise, sprained left ankle. They've retaped him. He should be able to stay in. The one they're concerned about is Fry, how long he can go.
Okay, Jerry. Very quick work down there. Help us keep an eye. They're rotating a lot of people. 2 tight end formation, Virginia Tech. Or brings it back the other way, and he'll have a couple of yards. Paul Oliver finally makes the stop on him.
Well, right now it looks like, Ron, every time that Virginia Tech tries to run that stretch play, the white jerseys are pushing up the field, and Orr has nowhere to go. It's hard to tell if that left ankle is bothering him or not. He just can't even get started. I think what they need to go back to, Virginia Tech, is anything just straight ahead. Don't try to run sideways. Georgia on the ends is just too powerful and too fast.
You could see from that camera up above that Paul Oliver made a very short tackle, grabbed the ankle, was not going to let it go. 2nd and 8, looking right over the middle. The ball is caught at the 12-yard line by Harper, and Justin's going to be a couple of yards shy of the 1st down as Brian Evans, the redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, makes the tackle for Georgia.
Well, Harper was a guy, they have so many talented receivers on this roster, and Harper was a guy who started separating himself at the end of the season. Very sure-handed guy, made a good catch there, and I wouldn't be surprised if, Ron, on a 3rd and 2 situation, maybe take a shot. You've got guys packed in, maybe sneak somebody down the middle on a post.
You can see the numbers in red zone offense with a little pitch or 10 at the 5 as they reversed. The influence with the blockers went to the left. They gave him a counter step, and then he came back to the right to the short side of the field, and Oliver finally pushes him out.
Yep, trying to get the flow, everybody going that way. Very nice job when the fullback goes that way. That's what they were following. Ron, was Jesse Allen, the fullback, going in that A-gap to the left side.
And Marcus Howard, number 38, who is in the ballgame replacing Quentin Moses, did not stay at home and allowed him to achieve the corner.
And I'm sure that is something that Brian Steinspring had seen, was the fast chasing defensive end. Let's make him pay for it.
So it's 1st down. 1st and goal, Virginia Tech. They lead 7-3. Straight ahead at the 3, at the 2, and down to the 1 is Brandon Orr. It's going to be 2nd down and goal from about 36 inches away.
Well, it's hard to put into If you didn't follow Virginia Tech all year, it's hard to really realize how important Brandon Orr is. He's a young man who was struggling, calls himself. He said, listen, flat out, I was a knucklehead. I wasn't going to class. I wasn't doing the right things. He had shoulder surgery, went home last spring and got his mind right. Worked at a 7-Eleven warehouse. And so he came back. He's been going to class. He's become a leader. He had 2 games in a row over 200 yards, and he's so important down inside the 5-yard line with that power.
Very intense look on the face of Frank Beamer. You would think that he was trailing. Straight ahead, or again got hit in midair. No signal, and he did not score. Jarvis Jackson, number 45 for the Bulldogs, is the man who made contact when he was in midair. Georgia's saying that the ball came loose. We still have no signal. Yes, we do. At the half-yard line, you could see the linesman put up 3 fingers saying it's 3rd down.
Yeah, the officials came in and were already spotting the ball. This little inside trap play, Render trying to get
perfect timing by Jackson.
Push, absolutely. And Jackson, a guy who's been fighting some foot ailments and some shoulder problems. Boy, just, well, from that angle. Now, are they saying maybe his forward progress was stopped before he reached? Yeah.
Had been stopped, but the ball now was only about 6 inches away.
I think, now they're going to review it. From that video, Ron, I think his forward progress may have been stopped. I don't know that they're going to be able to overturn it. It looked to me like he was almost moving backwards before he reached the ball out.
All right, here's the jolt. You see 45 right in the middle. He hits him, body bend, and he's heading backwards. Yeah. See, that to me says forward progress is ended before he reached the ball across.
I don't think they're going to overturn this. So now you're going to be looking at a 3rd down and
It's a touchdown.
They have signaled touchdown. So the call is reversed.
Boy, that didn't look like indisputable video evidence to me to turn that over. He still had 3rd and inches. You think maybe Virginia Tech was going to score, but looked like forward progress had been stopped.
I don't think there was any question that Frank was going to go.
Yeah, even if they didn't get it on 3rd, absolutely.
Yeah, that was going to be the situation. Yeah. Extra point attempt to come, so they reversed the call on the field, and they did not take very long to look at it and make the decision. Whistles, and the flag is down. So the kick, which went right through the uprights, they'll have to do it again.
Well, how many times through the years have you seen Virginia Tech with special teams and making plays on defense get the momentum for their offense?
8 on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
This momentum started with the interception by Brendan Hill and then the great punt return by Eddie Royal. And all of a sudden, this building's awfully quiet.
Rick Boone is a man who moved a little quickly. And Pace will attempt it again. Good pass and a good kick. So it's good. And as we head to break, here is the play that broke it open. Eddie Royal on this return right here. 54 yards on the punt. But the tough thing for the Georgia Bulldogs, it was 54 yards on the return, and then Orr scores it. 14-3, Virginia Tech. 3,200 acres of natural beauty. Stone Mountain Park features a wide variety of activities and things to do in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Orr getting his arm retaped. Just scored the touchdown to put his club up 14-3. And here's Asher Allen. He had a very good return last time, and this time he gets collared just short of the 25 by Dorian Porch. But here's the Aflac trivia question for tonight. Georgia and Virginia Tech are both charter members of what conference? Georgia and Virginia Tech, both charter members of what conference? We'll have that answer for you a little bit later on in the ball game. Total offense, we talked about the defense here tonight. Score not indicative because of a turnover and a long punt return. Georgia 47 total yards, Virginia Tech 74. Blitz coming off the corner. Pass is thrown in and out of the hands of Mario Raley. That's 2 drops on the part of Georgia in the early going. Well, the first drive was 45 yards. The last 3 drives, they had 2 yards.
Well, listen, Bud Foster, if there's a better defensive coordinator in the country, Bo Pelini awfully good down at LSU, but I'm not sure there's better. I think it took him a little while for his guys to get used to the speed of the game again. But once they did, Ron, we've seen these guys. This defense is as good as advertised.
Play action, sets in the pocket, pressure, and the freshman steps up, throws long, got a man wide open, and he couldn't hold on. That's Kenneth Harris. Oh, my goodness. Yes, if I only had it over again.
Well, all the time in the world. This play took forever to develop. Kenneth Harris is going to come on the left side of your screen, runs a double move, the corner to the post. Stafford does an excellent job stepping up and just a little. You know, Ron, that's one of the things that Stafford, the reason they love him, he's just got such a great arm. But as he starts to mature, he'll get a little better feel for that ball. He could have put just a little more air on it. Just a touch,
particularly with the defensive back having fallen down. Just put air under it, let the man run under.
Absolutely. He'll learn.
3rd down and 10. They need to take it to the 34-yard line. Pressure up the middle, and he gets by the first wave, but not the second. Sack at the 18-yard line. Nolan Burchett is the first man there, and it was Aaron Rouse who was really putting the pressure on and forcing him out of the pocket.
Wow, this is a great blitz call by Bud Foster. They're going to cross it up in the middle, and then late the safety's going to come. This is, they're bringing 3 people in the middle. There's only 2 to block. And Stafford, because it's coming so late, doesn't realize that they're not going to pick up that extra man. What an excellent call by Bud Foster, bringing 3 men through the middle of that offensive line.
Looked like they were coming in waves. Gordon Kelso stands back to punt at the 4-yard line. 3rd time that Georgia will have punted here in this first half.
I kick it away. To me, kick this thing 35, 40 yards out of bounds. Too much momentum.
Eddie Royal had a 40 or 54-yard return last time. They tried to kick it away from him, but they pay for it with a Virginia Tech bounce. It almost took it 10 yards back upfield. So let's take a timeout. 14-3 Virginia Tech. 4:55 until halftime. So it's 14-3 Virginia Tech, and Ed's special teams and also defense has made the difference for Tech.
Well, early on, Matthew Stafford throws the ball late and behind Milner, picked off by Hill. Finish off with Orr on the touchdown, and then Eddie Royal goes 54 yards on this punt return, and then Brandon Orr scores, or doesn't he? Whatever, they gave him the 7 points, but on only 74 yards of total offense. Virginia Tech now with 14 points and good field position again.
Marshman comes back in the ball game at left tackle, replacing Brandon Fry. Kenny Lewis back in the game at tailback. That ball is tipped. Eddie Royal can throw it because it was a backward pass, wide open, the tight end at the 5, and touchdown Sam Wheeler. 53 yards, and here is the difficult thing for Georgia. When the ball got tipped, they all stopped, but it was obviously a backward pass. Eddie Royal never broke motion or stride.
What an excellent job by Royal. This was set up the whole way. They're going to have the tight end running right down the middle, Ron. This was going to be a throw right from the start, and just because it got tipped, you're exactly right. The entire Georgia defense stopped. The safety had already come up and bit on the ball, and Sam Wheeler, a freshman tight end, running wide open down the middle.
What a shocker. And the Georgia people sitting stunned in silence right now. But what has just happened was a very good play call, but the ball getting tipped made it even worse because they did slow down. Wheeler with the touchdown. All of a sudden, Virginia Tech 21-3. We'll be right back. Hokies on a roll. All righty, thanks very much. Greg Lumpkin is the tailback. I'm sure the programming department is on the phone with the Weather Bureau in New Mexico. As Lumpkin gets the handoff and takes it over the left side to around the 25. I mean, like lightning, this has happened. And if you're on the Georgia sideline, Georgia has played a very good ball game. Up until that play, they were giving up only 3 yards average per snap. Now, if that doesn't get you in a good position, I don't know what it takes.
Well, and this is what really hurt Georgia in that stretch where they lost 4 out of 5 ball games. Turnovers, special teams. They just weren't getting it done in those departments. Exact same thing that's happening tonight.
Straight ahead, Lumpkin, there's nothing there. Virginia Tech, by the way, if you joined us late, they have scored 21 unanswered points, and it came in 10 minutes. Obviously, that's a very quick period of time to have 3 scores.
Well, they don't call it Beamer ball for nothing. I mean, when you start making plays on the plus side of the field with your defense and special teams, you're setting up the short field. And Georgia, the #9 defense in the country, I don't care how good you are, when you're playing on a very short field in this type of game, it's very difficult.
That's Raley in motion, back and then forth. You see blitz coming right at the middle. Pressure is on, and the freshman runs by them, now sets, and he is going to be tackled just before he gets out of bounds. Brendan Hill is the man that was all over him. And for the people there are a smattering of boos over there, that is not the youngster's fault. He just had more people coming at them than they had blockers to pick him up.
Absolutely. Vince Hall never quit on that play. Did an excellent job, spun off of his block, got right in his face, and Stafford actually did an excellent job to escape from him to even try to make a play.
This is the 3rd straight 3 and out for Georgia.
Watch for Virginia Tech. It looks like they're going to come after this one.
Royal is the deep man. And here's the boot. High, wobbly spiral. Royal's not going to get to it. And again, it takes a Virginia Tech bounce and is touched dead at the 39-yard line. So the Aflac trivia question for this week is: Georgia and Virginia Tech are both charter members of what conference? And the answer is the Southern Conference, formed in February of 1921. February the 25th, the Southern Conference. Both Georgia and Virginia Tech were charter members of that conference.
And they played exactly 2 years against each other, 1931 and 1932, and then went their separate ways. Of course, Georgia becoming a charter member of the Southeastern Conference.
Running play, or trying to stay in bounds. He will. He'll be stopped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And the clock runs now with about 1:30 until halftime. Tony Taylor on the stop.
Well, I don't think Georgia should be shell-shocked right now, Ron. With 3 timeouts, I think they should work some of this clock and try to get the ball back. Listen, you're 21-3. I know all the momentum's against you. Virginia Tech is willing to let this thing run out. I think Mark Richt should try to use some of these timeouts and at least make Virginia Tech punt.
Not so sure that they haven't gone too far now, because we're about to go under a minute, and the play clock didn't start until just a moment ago as we hit the draw play. And Orr will not turn the corner. He'll be tackled at the 45-yard line. I guess he semi-turned it. Brian Evans was there defensively, and we're close to the very last play of the first half.
Well, I understand things have not gone well for Georgia. I mean, it's amazing how quiet this building got from the electricity we had early. And of course, the Virginia Tech fans are quiet because very happy and content and starting to head out to the concourses.
Pressure, can't get by it. Glennon will go down, and they will be credited with a sack on that 3rd down. 28 seconds down to 27.
Wow. Boy, and I can hear the Georgia fans. I'm with them. I think you've got to at least try to make Virginia Tech punt here.
I think what Mark was trying to do, they have been in such a stupor in the last 10, 11 minutes of this ball game. He wants to get to the locker room, reorganize, talk to his freshman quarterback and everybody and say, hey, we can still win this football game, but not the way we played the last 11 minutes. And let's go down to the sideline. Dr. Jerry Punch with Mark Richt.
Coach, after the opening drive, the offense has sputtered a bit. What do you do in the second half to get on track?
Well, we got to do a little bit of everything better. We're not protected well. We're not providing much space for our runners. We got to do everything better right now.
Big momentum shift just before halftime. What do you say to your kids in the locker room at half?
Well, as usual, it's 30 minutes. We didn't play very good in the first 30. and we better turn things around in the second if we're going to have any chance at all. Virginia Tech's doing a great job right now. We got to get it going.
Hey, thanks for your time, Coach. All right. Ron?
Okay, Jerry, we are at halftime, and our score at the break is Virginia Tech 21 and Georgia 3. Now to Reese Davis, Mark May, and Lou Holtz for the Smith-Barney halftime report. Gentlemen.
All right, Ron, so the quick math would show you it would take 22 points for Georgia to win this game. Virginia Tech hasn't given up that many points in a game since their last loss, which was to Boston College. 6 straight games which they've given up 10 points or fewer. Very tall task in front of the Dogs if they want to put together any kind of rally, Lou.
It is that, and this is also the first game that Mark Richt has allowed Mike Bobo to call the plays. And it's just a difficult defense to call plays against. They can't run the football, they can't protect it, and receivers cannot get open in one-on-one coverage. And Mayday, you were right about that defense, but Georgia's defense playing well also.
Yeah, they definitely are, but if you look at this Virginia Tech defense, Bud Foster's just a master. He's got players in position at the right time, and you look what they've been able to do to Matthew Stafford in this Georgia offense, hold him to 44 yards total in the first half. Matthew Stafford, 3 for 9, 1 interception in the first half. That's just not getting it done for Georgia, but take your hats off to Virginia Tech. They're flying around having fun out there.
Second straight year in this stadium, in the Georgia Dome, that the Dogs have fallen into a huge hole in a bowl game. Got behind West Virginia 28-0 last year. They rallied, lost at 38-35. It seems to be a little bit of a different animal if they want to put some points on the board in the second half. Still to come on the Smith-Barney halftime report. When you hit the high note, you know what to do. You'll walk off. We'll show you the BC Navy game at the end, and Texas and Iowa. An Alamo worth remembering. It also came down to the final ticks.
So we say thanks to Steve Robinson of Chick-fil-A and also Gary Stoken, who is director of this bowl game. 21-3 our score at halftime. And although that score looks like a huge amount, particularly with the defense of Virginia Tech, I see 2 first downs for Georgia, only 5 for Virginia Tech. Still, if you're Georgia, what did you talk about at halftime?
Just settle down. You're not out of the game. They get the ball first coming out to start this half. They've got to get something on the board, Ron. They've got to get some energy back in this building. Just talk to your young quarterback. Listen, you've decided to go with Stafford. He's the guy with all the talent. Just let him settle down and get some throws. He had some stuff open that he missed. Just get him settled down. I think they'll be okay.
Of course, the interesting thing is, let's see, 3 from 21 is 18, so it means you got to score 19 points. 19 points and a half against Virginia Tech has been insurmountable. But the kick is going to be returned. Allen, and he's not going to make it to the 15-yard line. Now let's take a look at the New York Life game track on the first half.
Well, it's been so difficult on Georgia defensively. You mentioned how Virginia Tech has not had a ton of offense. 53 of those total yards came on that one throwback to the tight end Wheeler, but their defense is just constantly being put in bad positions because of turnovers and special teams. If they can settle in on offense and not turn it over, I agree it's going to be very difficult, Ron, but if this young man can settle down, he's got the talent, just needs to settle down and not throw it to the guys in the maroon jerseys.
And of course, the other play that was really damning as far as Georgia is concerned, following a 54-yard punt. It was a 54-yard return, and this not the way to open the second half. A broken play as either Stafford or the running back went the wrong way. He circled in behind his blocker and goes for 1. Jerry Punch, let's check on the sideline with you.
Well, Ron, Georgia scored only 3 points in the first half. But we've got to remind the folks that 4 times this year the Georgia Bulldogs did not score a single point in the first half. They trailed 10-0 to Colorado, Ole Miss, Florida, and Georgia Tech. And in 3 of those 4 games, they roared back to win the football game. So they have a pretty good history this year of second half comebacks.
Okay, Jim, we'll keep a very close eye on it. I guess that the thing is they got a lot of roaring to do if they're going to come back in this ball game. Is that pass too high? Intended for the fullback, Sutherland. It was Flowers there defensively. You see, in 12 games, they've allowed 5 touchdowns in the second half, and that's it.
And the one thing that you can't do against Bud Foster, even though you're behind, you can't get into a throw at every down situation. Even on 3rd and 7, you just too much pressure that they can bring. We've already seen the blitzes they'll bring. You've got to try with Lumpkin in there, possibly a draw. Stafford is going to have a tough time if he has to just stand in the pocket for the rest of the game.
3rd down, they need to take it out to the 26-yard line to hold on to the football. Virginia Tech brings a blitz. Gets his pass away. Got a man open. That's a great job of holding on by Raley. Mario Raley, a senior out of Charlotte, Independence High School.
Well, that was an excellent job because Victor Harris was coming off. He was the corner to the outside. Stafford puts this ball right over. Very nice throw.
Big time.
Yeah, boy, that's a really nice throw over the linebacker, and Harris comes in and knocks it. And that's something that Georgia has struggled with, Ron, holding on to the ball in this ball game and during the season.
That's the first third down conversion of the ball game by Georgia. New line of scrimmage, the 43. Lumpkin. Quarterback holds on to it as they fake it to Lumpkin. And Aaron Rouse is right there to make the tackle. And they'll spot him down at the 45-yard line, which a gain of 2.
Well, that's an excellent read by Rouse. You see that play all over college football. Starting to see it in the NFL. Starting to see it right in this building with Michael Vick of the Atlanta Falcons. The quarterback read, and Rouse, the rover, strong safety, stayed right at home.
A.J. Bryant, number 18, comes into the ball game at wide receiver for the Bulldogs. Ground. Lumpkin spins out, reverses, and he'll be tackled at the 48-yard line by number 9 Flowers and also Vince Hall, who picked him up and slammed him into the artificial turf.
Well, earlier in the year there was kind of a 3-man rotation between Lumpkin, Brown, and Danny Ware. Brown out with a knee injury now, and Lumpkin has just taken over that position. Actually, Ron, we saw the Ole Miss game, which was the first game of the season that Lumpkin started. Brown back a junior next year, but Lumpkin was the guy in that Colorado game when they came back. One of those comebacks that Dr. Punch was talking about. Played so well in the second half and earned the job.
Third down. Sings the pass, has it complete to Milner, and the big tight end gets gang tackled right there in front of the Virginia Tech bench. He's not going to have enough for the first down. He is across midfield, but it's still going to be 2 yards shy. A DB and Aaron Rouse combining on the tackle.
Well, Stafford just didn't have anything. A lot of people at home probably saying, why did he throw it to Milner underneath? But the coverage downfield was perfect. And this is a situation where wouldn't be surprised if Mark Richt would not maybe want to try a fake here and try to get some of this momentum back.
Royal, the deep man for Virginia Tech. Gordon Ilikelso. Steps up, pooch kick here. Spiral is not going to turn over. And a fair catch is made at the 10-yard line by Royal. So it's 40 yards on the kick. Let's take a timeout. 10:50 left in the third. Score remains 21-3, Virginia Tech. So we're back. First offensive possession of the second half for Virginia Tech. In fact, this is their worst starting position. The ball at the 10-yard line, their own 10. Brandon Orr gets the handoff. He'll take it left side for about 3. Let's go down to the sideline and check in again with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Ron, not good news for the Hokies defensive front. One of their emotional leaders up front, redshirt senior Nolan Burchett, has broken his left arm. He had it splinted a moment ago in the locker room by their orthopedic surgeon, Mark Siegel. They had a plate put in that left arm a year ago, and he fractured it just above the plate in the mid portion of the left arm, but he is obviously done for the night.
Okay, Jerry, thanks again. Great hustle on your part. A young man who has really stepped up and played well for them, a redshirt senior out of Richmond. This running play, nothing. The play is stuffed. It's going to be a loss of 1.5 yards. Paul Oliver comes up to make the tackle. Paul has had a nice ball game tonight.
Paul had an amazing game against Charles Johnson, but losing a guy like Nolan Burchett, Doc Punch talked about the emotional leader of this, not just this defense, but this team. He was a guy at Game 7 when things were kind of getting a little difficult. He made a speech, and it's just been knockout. The last 6 games on defense have been amazing.
And when you see those numbers right there, the ones on the left are stingy. The ones on the right are just downright ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, they can really make you look bad, even if you're a good football team. 3rd down. Blitz coming right up the middle, throws the pass complete to Morgan, and he's going to be shoved back. Forward progress, they say, is to the 18, but that's 2 yards shy. And again, Paul Oliver on the stop.
Well, it was Burchett who made the speech to his teammates going into Game 7. Let's treat every game like it's Game 7 the rest of the way out. Of course, he was referring to NBA or Major League Baseball type of playoffs, and this team has played that way since after that Boston College embarrassment on Thursday night that Virginia Tech had owned. They'd won 11 straight on Thursday night until that 22-3 loss.
With that play by Oliver, Willie Martinez told us yesterday he was not consistent early this season. Well, he is proving tonight that he could play with great consistency. He has been very good on the defensive side of the ball. This is a howitzer. Back all the way to the 26-yard line. Henderson, 40, 45, and then will be dragged down from behind at around the 46-yard line. So we'll take a timeout. Still 21-3 with 8:23 left in the 3rd. Well, it's a good thing that we shot these aerials a couple of nights ago because you couldn't get them tonight. It is really foggy in the Atlanta area and a heavy mist. And with the Georgia Dome to cover us up, it's been a great night for football, particularly if you're a Hokie fan. And Georgia trying to get something going offensively. Play action. Got a man right over the middle. Fullback Sutherland. Sutherland will take it inside the 30, and he's down to around the 28-yard line. Parker on the stop, but it's good for 26 yards.
Well, this is an excellent call by Mike Bobo. Sutherland comes in motion and then just slips to the outside. It's a perfect play action. Remember, Lumpkin has had some success running. And Vince Hall and Xavier Adibi sucked right up into it. And a very nice throw. Listen, this young quarterback.
Put air
yeah,
under that
absolutely.
one.
When he doesn't have to think, he can just throw it. He's a very talented quarterback.
They'll go from the shotgun with 2 tailbacks, Lumpkin and Ware in the ball game as well. And it's Ware who got the handoff, takes it to around the 25-yard line. Vince Hall comes over to make the tackle. And here's a look at Mike Bobo. Now the offensive coordinator has been designated that for next year, as Neil Callaway leaving to become the head coach at UAB. And Mike was told on Thanksgiving Day that he also was going to start calling the plays. And for everybody that thought, as you look at Neil Callaway on the sideline, that would be a big deal, I don't really think it changes anything. He's not going to call it that differently than what Mark Richt would have called.
No, and he's got a guy he can lean on in most situations. But Mark Richt said, I'm going to let him do it. I'm not going to bother him.
Rolls to the right, gets this pass just a little too far, intended for Henderson. And you know, Coach Holt made a really good point at halftime, talking about it doesn't matter who's calling the plays when you've got a defense that is dialing in on everything you're trying to do. Mike Bobo, I remember doing the Outback Bowl with him in Georgia against Wisconsin. He holds the record for 19 straight completions, and he was 26 of 28 for the afternoon.
And his quarterback, he's also the quarterback coach, and that's, to me, the more important job tonight. He's calling good plays, but he's just got to get his quarterback dialed in a little better.
Pressure from behind. The ball is loose. Was his arm going forward? Now a beanbag does come down from John Bible, the referee. And it was Chris Ellis from behind. Watch him.
Right at the bottom of your screen, he goes right by. An excellent move on Michael Turner. Turner, who was injured earlier in the year, just turned right out of his stance. And Ellis, who worked so hard in the offseason to gain a little bit of strength but not lose any speed, does an excellent job.
This is a 51-yard attempt, as Velasco is the man who made the recovery. and he's capable. Ball is down, plenty of distance, and I'll tell you, he just nailed it from 51 yards. Brandon Coutu, the junior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. And as we talk way back in the first quarter, they were so happy to get him back after a leg injury because of being a weapon like that. We'll be right back. And here with the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the field goal of 51 yards we had just a moment ago by Coutu is 1 yard shy of the all-time record. 51 yards, though, second longest in Chick-fil-A Bowl history.
Amazing part about that statistic is defensively they've scored 2 touchdowns, so they wiped both of those out. So they're basically pitching a shutout in the last 26 plus quarters.
Mims for the kickoff, and it's an onside kick, and it looks like Georgia got it.
Excellent call, and Coutu did the drag where he kicked it and ran right next to it. Excellent job. Excuse me. It was Brian Mims. Pardon me. Brian Mims, an excellent job. Watch how he drags the ball.
He makes the recovery, I believe. Yes, he does. Yep. And in fact, he reached out and grabbed it away from a Virginia Tech player, number 26, Cody Grimm. Cody was about to grab the ball. He just took it away from him.
I love the call, but the call can't happen without perfect execution. Mims could not have done a better job of hitting that ball the exact speed he needed to let it go 10 and then fall on it himself.
Frank Beamer cannot be very pleased right now. This could allow Georgia to regain momentum and get right back in the game. Hit from behind. There's not going to be anything for Ware. And a flag comes in late at the 45 as Chris Ellis and Carlton Powell combined on the stop.
Personal foul, face mask number 99 on the defense.
Carlton Powell will cost them 15 more yards.
Hey, Ron, looks like a little Mose coming back for Georgia, and that is a personal foul. Grabbed it and would not let go.
Nope, he sort of brought him down by it. So now the ball is inside the 40-yard line. Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, looks up at the clock, and he's thinking momentum as well.
Absolutely, and this is what we were talking about earlier. Mark Richt allowing Mike Bobo to call the plays. He said, I was looking forward to growing as a head coach. That was a great call.
Sutherland and Ware in the backfield. You see the shifting defensively by Virginia Tech, and now I think we've had contact, and it's going to be against Virginia Tech.
Offside, 79 on the defense, 5-yard penalty, down.
That was a heads-up play by Nick Jones, the center.
I think Corey Robertson is the man who was offside.
That was a really heads-up play. As he saw Robertson in the neutral zone, he just snapped it right away. You don't do that a lot, especially with a freshman quarterback. But that was a nice play by Jones.
So that's 20 yards in penalties. All of a sudden, it is a 1st and 5 at the Virginia Tech 32-yard line. 21-6. Tech on top. But Georgia with momentum. First down run. Right side. Inside the 30. Down to the 25. Danny Ware was the ball carrier. DB made the stop. And I think the Georgia lineman, yes, is down because he got rolled up on from behind. Fernando Velasco, the junior out of Rins, Georgia.
Well, they need him to stay in, Ron. You mentioned this earlier. Watch the huge hole on the right side of this offensive line. Mark Richt, when he was talking to Jerry Punch, said we've got to give our running backs more room. You can't give any more room. Let's see what happens at the very end. That's a DB on the chase that rolls up. But Velasco, only 6 scholarship offensive linemen suited tonight for Georgia. They can't lose him.
And one of them has been ill. So they are very slim in that department. Lumpkin and Ware, the 2 tailbacks this time. And the handoff will go to Lumpkin. Breaks it open at the 20. He almost broke it all the way to the end zone. And Virginia Tech with a player down just off the field of play at the goal line. And that is Brandon Flowers, the outstanding cornerback.
Well, he was getting blocked all the way down the field by a wide receiver. As the running play ended, and that was Massaquoi. Yeah, Massaquoi went for the cut block at the end of the play to try to finish it, and his knee got caught.
He never hit his legs, but that ankle got in underneath his leg as he was trying to fall on his backside. And we'll see if that is just a stunned ankle or if it is in fact injured.
Well, now let's see Mike Bobo, the new play caller. Brandon Flowers by far the best cornerback for Virginia Tech. And so you assume Roland Minor or maybe even the freshman Cam Chancellor may come in. And if it is the true freshman Chancellor, I'd take a shot at him because this is the best cover corner. And this is a guy who came into camp as a quarterback. Probably will end up playing safety at 6'3".
Or linebacker.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have talked about moving him to linebacker. I'll tell you, that doesn't look good on Flowers.
No.
They had to carry him with no weight on that ankle a long way.
Well, let's see who gets lined up against the true freshman Chancellor. He's working up top against Chris Durham. Here's the matchup right here. Let's see if they take advantage of it.
Stafford hands it off. Flag comes down. He gave it to Sutherland, the fullback. And they like to do that to cross up the defenses to the
Ball start, offensive right guard. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, you don't want to hurt your momentum, and that face right there from Mark Richt says just that. Come on, guys. We've got some momentum going. Let's not hurt ourselves.
Michael Turner. Just 2 penalties on Georgia tonight. And Bud Foster contemplating what he's going to call. Instead of a second down and short, it's going to be second down at about 7.5. Linebacker blitz in the middle. Ball is dropped by Sutherland. The big fullback was there. The pass was there. And he couldn't hold on to it.
Well, this is almost the exact same play we saw run earlier. It's the play fake with Sutherland going up to the linebackers, and once again, they caught Virginia Tech in a blitz. And Kerry Wade, the safety, was late getting over. Vince Hall and a DB came, they had it, and Sutherland dropped it. That is something that has haunted this Georgia offense all season. That might have been a touchdown, Ron.
Oh, I have every confidence it would have been because Sutherland is so big at 250 pounds. Danny Ware, the lone setback this time. Third down. Deep in the pocket, drills it, and has it complete for the first down to Durham, and that's going to be at the 11.5-yard line.
Well, we saw Chancellor, the true freshman, come in for Brandon Flowers, and this is Durham. Durham, the reason he's in there playing is because of his sure hands. Of all of the guys, when they were having the problems with the drops, Durham, a true freshman, had the surest hands of the bunch, and that's why he's in there. He goes up and snatches it, taking advantage of the other true freshman, Chancellor.
First down, and they have spotted the ball at around the 12-yard line. Now Stafford with an audible. Under 3 minutes to play third quarter. And Georgia trying to get back in this one in earnest. Right up the middle. There is a nice opening for Danny Ware, and he'll take it to around the 7-yard line. Barry Booker makes the stop.
Well, Mark Richt got tired of seeing Virginia Tech take advantage of their kicking game, and he decided to do the onside kick with Mims. And it could not, listen, it's a gutsy call, but it has to be executed, Ron, and it was executed perfectly by Mims. And all of a sudden, you see how it translates. The energy level for Georgia is through the roof. Their offensive line is moving guys off the ball. There's running room for Ware and Lumpkin. I would think play action pass here. Virginia Tech's going to suck up. You've got a couple of tight ends you can release.
Play action right over the middle. Milner, the tight end, touchdown.
Well, when you start to get the running game going, Ron, it opens up so much stuff. On second down, this could not be a better call by Mike Bobo. Milner does a little slow release. He looks at a guy like he's going to block him and then releases. Excellent call. Mike Bobo is going to be a fine offensive coordinator with calls like that.
Get 2 with the extra point. It's up and it's good. And go call your neighbor who changed channels and started to go to bed.
Bring him back.
21-13 our score, Virginia Tech. touchdown. Jet play.
Johnson over the middle at the 5. He'll score. Pass is caught. Fisher will score.
Allen with a great return. Already in field goal range, and will it go the distance? Pete Allen does it.
Unbelievable.
So the scoring by quarters. 10 unanswered by Georgia. They're right back in this thing. And there goes the yellow car leaving the field. And that's part of the Pontiac the promotion that they were running during the play. So Elvin Lindblad, our statistician, suggested had they left the lights on, that could truly have been a Pontiac game-changing performance. Boy, look at this Georgia offense.
Well, and it all started with a great call by Mark Richt to go for that onside kick. What an excellent decision by him.
Straight ahead with the running play, just not much doing. Brandon Orr will go for a couple. And Danny Verdun Wheeler making the stop.
You know, Mark Richt giving up the play calling duty for the first time in 13 years. Such a difficult decision by him. He finally came to peace with it and decided it was the right thing to do. And he's going to go during the offseason and visit with some business leaders, some CEOs that he really respects, and talk about how he can become a better CEO, because that's the role that he's going to start filling in. And I think that decision, that onside kick, is starting that process of taking the next step as a head coach.
Quick pass, far sideline, thrown a little bit behind the intended receiver, Josh Morgan. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio first. Thanks, Reese. Our situation, this is a 3rd down. And I mean, this Georgia crowd has really awakened. Their club with 10 unanswered in the 3rd. They're right back in this ball game. Looking for the first down. Pumped it once. Now under pressure. Throws it the other way, and it's intercepted at the 37-yard line by Tony Taylor.
Bad decision.
Charles Johnson is the man who sent everything haywire, and there is a flag down. But Johnson is the man that kept applying the pressure.
Well, Trey Battle, by the way that Mark Richt was talking to Trey Battle, I bet you he's going to get called for some type of personal foul and hurt this.
After the play, personal foul number 4 on Virginia Tech. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, they actually call Eddie Royal. Trey Battle may have been over there jawing, and Mark Richt was very upset. They actually called Eddie Royal, and now, boy, that's a huge, huge turn of events.
Well, let's take a look and see what there's Royal, number 4.
Battle going for the block. He hit him in the face, and Mark Richt standing there turning around saying throw the flag. Battle, Ron, they always say it's the guy who hits back that gets called.
They both hit each other.
Absolutely,
in the face.
but it's because Royal did second. Absolutely.
Lumpkin in the ball game at tailback, and they hand it off. They keep it. No end around. Got him at the 15, 10, 5. Milner tackled at the 2-yard line. In the pass play.
Well, Stafford did an unbelievable job hiding this ball on his hip. He went for the play fake. As he goes to hand this off to Lumpkin, watch, he sits it and fakes the end around and just sat in there perfectly to A.J. Bryant. And the defense for Virginia Tech never saw it, and Milner waited, and then he's running one-on-one.
First and goal from the 2. Sutherland, the fullback, hit behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose a yard. Vince Hall is the man who came in. I would suggest to you the situation, the shoe is on the other foot. In the first half, Georgia was stunned when Virginia Tech scored in 10 minutes 21 points. Well, right now, if they take this into the end zone, it's going to be inside of 10 minutes that Georgia will have put 17 points on the board.
And if you're Virginia Tech, expect a play action here. Do not allow the strong safeties to get sucked up. You've got Milner lined up right here.
Vade, Milner couldn't hold on.
Much better job that time by Virginia Tech. still almost, boy, this is a really nice throw, Ron, because the coverage is there. That's Kerry Wade, the senior safety, who's turning and running, and Stafford still almost fit that ball in.
And Minor also with a bump on him. Very legal. Georgia, we show 6 drop passes on the night. It is 3rd down and goal. That's Milner in motion. And they run a counter. Touchdown, Greg Lumpkin.
Mike Bobo's finding his wheels. Watch this. It looks like it's going to be an option, and then it comes right back the other way. Excellent counter motion. Plus, Ron, they've spread it out.
But
so
see, it's a tight end.
Absolutely.
And that's how they crossed him up. Milner, they stopped him behind the tackle, and then they brought him back the other way, almost like a pulling guard. And he took the defender out, and he walked into the end zone.
And now you're at that point. You're Georgia. Because of the 2 field goals, you have to go for 2. Watch for a rub route down here on the bottom.
Stafford looking deep in the end zone, got it to Milner. 2-point conversion is good. We're tied at 21. Hello, Mike Bobo. What a job of play calling in this second half. He's taken them to the woodshed so far. The interception by Taylor. And then the counter play, the touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion to Milner. Georgia has tied this ball game at 21. Well, over a 10-minute period back in the first half, as you take a look at the quarterbacks, Stafford 126 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, and Glennon 67 yards on the night. But back in the first half, it looked as though Virginia Tech was going to run away with it with 21 unanswered points. Now Georgia 17 unanswered in the second half. This comes from the 12. It's Morgan. And Morgan will finally be tackled around the 28-yard line.
Well, you've got Milner to the inside. He's going to try to run a pick for Raley coming to the inside, but they fight through it. Watch Stafford. He looks to Raley to see if it's there, and it's not, and then he follows up and finds Milner in the back of the end zone. Ron, that is great quarterback play. The first read's not there, absolutely, and give Milner credit for following through. The rub's not there. He finished his route. Excellent read, excellent execution by a freshman quarterback.
Did not stop.
Nope.
He continued his route. Brandon Orr, the man at tailback. Now let's see if the Hokies can come up with an answer, because they have been answered by Georgia. Fakes it to Orr. Pressure hit from behind. Ball is loose. Georgia football. Quentin Moses. Charles Johnson is the man who caused the turnover.
Well, Charles Johnson was challenged by his coaches to get better and better and better. That time it's a mismatch, Ron. He's working one-on-one against a freshman tight end. Very simple move, just drops the shoulder, finishes to the backside. You cannot expect a freshman tight end to block Charles Johnson, especially when the momentum has swung back to Georgia.
You could have held him.
That's about
the only way you could have gotten.
Absolutely.
Lumpkin and Ware, the tailbacks. Georgia with a first down at the 19. Pass out of the backfield, and he dropped the football. Danny Ware. It's a sure touchdown. Wheel route just took him out of the backfield. Nobody picked him up.
We should mark that play, Ron. If this ends up being a field goal attempt on this drive, it couldn't have been run any better. It's a very difficult catch when you're wide open and you've got a touchdown, but this has haunted Georgia all season, our drops.
We haven't, either officially or unofficially, 7 dropped passes by the Bulldogs tonight. And obviously nobody feels any worse than the junior out of Rockmart, Georgia, Danny Ware. Kenneth Harris in motion. They go with the running play. Ware running hard and finally knocked out of bounds inside the 15 by Vince Hall.
Well, we've been talking about Mike Bobo, the new play caller. And this is a situation, Ron, where you've got the momentum. You've got 3rd and 3. I think you may want to take a shot here. Milner has been such a weapon. Try the play fake, see if you can suck it up, and let Milner get into the end zone. I think this might be time for that.
Yards by half in this ball game. You see those numbers up there, and what a turn of events.
Milner down there at the bottom.
3rd down, they need to take it to the 9-yard line. Blitz coming off the corner. They run away from it. Halfback pass. Lumpkin looking, gonna have to run it, and he'll be short of the 1st down at the 11-yard line. Vince Hall is the man who made the tackle. So what would and should have been a touchdown now appears to be turning into a field goal attempt. And Mark Richt is right now saying, you know, boy, what should have been just simply didn't happen.
And he goes right over to Joe Tereshinski, the 5th-year senior quarterback, and shares a bit of a chuckle because they should have come away with 7 on that.
Brandon Coutu to attempt this field goal of 28 yards. Kick is plenty long and plenty good. He's already made kicks of 39 and 51, and add another one up there, and Georgia takes the lead. Would have been a touchdown, but this ball is dropped. So they wind up with a field goal. Georgia leads. Well, what you were looking at, the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Site. It was established to preserve and interpret the places where Dr. King was born, worked, worshipped, and is buried. Our new score, Georgia 24, Virginia Tech 21. Now, we talked about how dominating Virginia Tech's defense was in the first half. Folks, the Hokies have had the ball only 9 snaps in the entire second half. Here's the kick. Coming down at the 4 to Eddie Royal. Turns the corner. 20-25 flag from deep downfield, and they'll spot him out of bounds at around the 31-yard line.
Well, it looks like Royal is hurt on the Georgia sideline. No, he just bounced up.
Holding number 35 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Well, Dustin Pickle got him into a pickle with that flag right there. They're going to take over with poor field position.
And guess where they're backing up into, Ron? The Georgia fans. The Virginia Tech fans are to our left. Georgia fans all in that end zone to our right. Now they're going to be snapping on their 12-yard line, and the Georgia defense already trying to get them up and going.
Yeah, on that replay, you could see the jersey come off the shoulder pad, and that's the reason for the flag being thrown. So Virginia Tech takes it over at their own 12-yard line. Pass incomplete. Clowney, the intended receiver. And let's check in with Dr. Punch down on the sideline. Jerry.
Well, Ron, 1998 was the last time the Georgia Bulldogs came to this game led by a true freshman quarterback, Quincy Carter. And guess what? The Dogs were down by 21 to an ACC power from the Commonwealth State, the University of Virginia. But they clawed back in the second half. And a true freshman led them to a come-from-behind 35-33 victory here on what was then called the Peach Bowl, now the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Okay, Jerry. Jerry, this is 3 of 4 times in the second half that the Hokies have scrimmaged from inside their own 20-yard line.
And following up on Dr. Punch's story about Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter threw 3 interceptions that returned for touchdowns. 21-0 was the score that they had to come back from. Very similar to what Matthew Stafford did in the first half. 21-3, not on all returns, but he had the interception that led to a touchdown, the punt return. And Matthew Stafford has played. He's a whole different quarterback in this half than he was in the first half. They really settled him down.
You see the numbers, 6 of 11, 111 yards and a touchdown in the second half alone. That last play went for nothing, so it's 3rd down. They got to take it out to the 22-yard line or punt it away. Glennon Ball is tipped. It's intercepted. That's Tony Taylor. Touchdown, Georgia. Nope, they say he was down at the 1-foot line. Ball was tipped.
Tony Taylor is the MVP of this team. And it's plays like this that do it. Oliver gets the tip. Excellent job. He's coming on the corner blitz. Stopped his momentum when he saw Glennon coming that way. But Taylor makes another big play. He had an interception against Colorado to end that game in the comeback. Had a fourth-quarter touchdown return against Vanderbilt to help them almost win that game.
Well, we talked in the first half about, as you see, 7th interception this season for Taylor. But the fact that Paul Oliver, what a consistent player he has been, as this running play is not going to take it into the end zone. He has, at last count, I think 7 tackles and now a tipped pass, which turned into a return by Taylor to inside the 1-yard line.
And you have to feel so good for Tony Taylor. His father, Nate, was a walk-on, led the 1980 National Championship team in tackles. Had a terrible knee injury in 2004. He was on his way to being one of the great Georgia linebackers, coming back for his senior year and making huge play after huge play for the Bulldogs.
Danny Ware in the ball game at tailback, and it looks now as though Matthew Stafford is going to call a timeout, and we'll go over and talk it over with his head coach on the sideline and get some words from Coach Bobo upstairs. I tell you, Mike Bobo in this second half has called one whale of a football game. He's really kept them off balance.
Good tackle at the line of scrimmage, but boy, it's been such a different half. You know, Ron, the first half it was all Virginia Tech special teams and defense, and now it's totally flopped. We knew coming in it was going to be a defensive game, but boy, I didn't expect to see this many big plays out of both defenses. Going back to Oliver, you were talking about how the coaches wanted consistency out of him. Last game of the year, they're playing Georgia Tech, and they knew they had to bring their safeties down because Tashard Choice had established a very good running game for Georgia Tech, and Oliver goes one-on-one with Calvin Johnson. Late in the third quarter, shuts him out.
Virginia Tech defense points allowed in the last 6 games, 29, and Georgia 24 points tonight.
Have to go all the way back to September 30th. The last time they gave up more points than 24.
Well, they break the huddle on second down, and they're about a yard away. Again, it's Sutherland at fullback and Danny Ware at tailback. Georgia trying to break this thing open. And they give it to Sutherland, and the big fullback. They have not signaled touchdown as yet. 3 fingers go in the air, so he did not get in. It's third down. Brendan Hill and Vince Hall on the tackle.
See if the ball hits the ground right before he gets to it. Yep. Ball's about at his midsection. Now I think, Ron, you just have to do a quarterback sneak. You're so close. Don't listen. You've got a very quick defense for Virginia Tech. Just let Stafford get behind your offensive line. Nick Jones, Chester Adams, and Velasco.
So let's see if they do that. Power eye set to the left. Play action. He's going to try to throw it, and the ball is knocked away. Milner is the man that he wanted, and Rouse was the defender who knocked it away.
Stafford threw that ball late. He had Milner, should have thrown it right out of his break, but no need to get cute here. I think you go for it here on fourth down, and I think you just do a quarterback sneak. Don't let the speed of Virginia Tech be a factor.
Lumpkin is going to be the lone setback this time. Number 6. Well, I beg your pardon. Sutherland will stay in the ball game at fullback. And they give it to Sutherland. Touchdown, Georgia. Trep Taylor had come into the ball game and had a paving block. And Frank Beamer, after the way his club has turned this season around, you could see that look on his face in that distant stare. I guarantee you he can't believe what has happened to Virginia Tech tonight. Talk about in control. They were totally in control at halftime. The 2 with the extra point right down the middle. And the Georgia Bulldogs have turned into a scoring machine. 28 unanswered points here in the second half to take the lead. So let's take a timeout. Sutherland crashes the right tackle and into the end zone. 31-21 Georgia. So our new score. Uga counts it out for you. All 31 points. 31 bucks in this case. 31-21. Now here's tonight's game trackers headed by New York Life.
Well, early on, it was all Virginia Tech, Ron. It's been unbelievable. The defense got it started. Brandon Orr takes it in. And Virginia Tech was rolling 21-3 at halftime. But a gutsy call by Mark Richt on an onside kick got things started in the second half. Tony Taylor with 2 interceptions have led to touchdowns for Georgia. That one by Sutherland. It's been unbelievable how much this game has turned around.
Well, points off takeaways, 18 points by Georgia. You see the number for Virginia Tech. Here's the kick. Another spinner, very high, and it's going to be returnable by Royal from the 6. Near sideline, crosses the 20, and then is bumped out of bounds at around the 23. Well, the attendance tonight is a new football record in the Georgia Dome for this bowl game. 75,406. We knew they were adding some seats for tonight's ball game, but that is the largest number to see football here in the Georgia Dome. New record.
Well, I think this bowl is so perfect for this region. ACC versus SEC. A lot of people can drive here. Virginia Tech brought a huge contingent. Of course, Athens just right down the road, but this is the perfect matchup for Atlanta, Georgia.
Glennon retreats, throws near sideline, got it complete, and that is Boone. Brett Boone, the tight end, a redshirt freshman out of Chesapeake, Virginia. And Trey Battle and Paul Oliver combined on the stop.
Well, things for Virginia Tech obviously not going very well, and they need Sean Glennon to bounce back, Ron. When we talked to Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, he said part of the progress for Sean Glennon is he can come out of funks a little better during games. Back in early October.
On first down, Glennon tries to get away from pressure. Throws long. Got a man out there, and it is pass interference because the ball wound up hitting the defensive back, Keelan Johnson, either in the back of the headgear or the shoulder pad.
Actually, I think they might get Harper for the push-off. The Georgia coaches are going nuts over there. Johnson made contact. It could have been pass interference, but it sure looked to me like Justin Harper. They stuck out the arm right there to get away. I'll be surprised if this. Watch the right hand. And remember, in college football.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty, previous spot, first down.
Wow. You know, in college football, there is no face guarding.
No, and not anymore. 6 years ago, that came out of the rule.
Right. So the defender, Keelan Johnson, does not have to turn around and find the ball. Now, he can't make contact with the receiver before it gets here, but watch the right hand of Harper push off. Well, I don't think that's a good call. I think it's backwards. And I think that Willie Martinez has every right to be upset. That should have been on Virginia Tech.
So the penalty is going to move it out to the 48-yard line. 6.5 minutes left in our ball game. Virginia Tech leading big at halftime, now down by 10. Swing pass out into the flat, and he will get as much as he can and then steps out of bounds after a gain of about 5. Allen pushes him out.
Well, Ron, the one thing that you and I have been amazed by all year is how fast these games go now with the new rules. So every Virginia Tech player who's near a sideline for the rest of the game needs to get out of bounds. Don't fight for an extra yard or two and stay in. They have 3 timeouts, but they'll need to save those down 10. Touchdown and field goal to tie it up. They need to save every second they can.
Second down and 5. That play took only 7 seconds. Play action again. Johnson with pressure. Got away from it. Long one, and it is intercepted at the 10-yard line by Keelan Johnson. Eddie Royal was the intended receiver.
Ball hung a little bit. He had Royal. Absolutely had him, and ball just hung a little bit on Glennon, and Johnson. Excellent move by Royal. Keelan Johnson, playing that safety, didn't quite get enough depth, but the ball hung and was slightly overthrown, and Johnson makes a great play.
So a 10-point lead by Georgia. Virginia Tech has all 3 timeouts remaining. They can stop the clock if they can get a couple of stops on Georgia offensively. But certainly the Bulldogs right now in the driver's seat, having the ball at a 10-point lead. Lumpkin being pursued. He comes out of bounds at the 9-yard line, and a flag was thrown deep by the referee, and that's holding.
Penalties decline. Second down.
When he ran out of bounds at the 9-yard line with the loss on the play, they certainly will decline that penalty, so it's going to be second down. Second down, and now about 12 for the first down.
Well, Virginia Tech needs to rely on their defense now, Ron. The clock is going to continue to melt away. They cannot allow first downs. They have to get 3 and out. For Bud Foster, boy, he's been playing on a short field a lot tonight. He finally gets a little bit of field position to work with.
Interesting thing, like a DB only has 3 tackles in this ball game, and for him, that is an absolute drought. Sutherland, the ball carrier, tackled this time by Orion Martin. Vince Hall has been all over the place. Rouse has played nicely. Brandon Flowers. Well, here's tonight's Good Hands play of the game, presented by Allstate.
Well, this is what started the 28 unanswered. Was Martrez Milner. And Mike Bobo, you know, you can tell an offensive coordinator on a play caller in the red zone. Anybody can call plays if things are going well out in the middle of the field. It's been in the red zone. Do you convert good position in the red zone to touchdowns? And Georgia, for the most part, other than the drop, has been able to do that in the second half.
I really like the counter play that they ran.
It's beautiful.
Stopping Martrez Milner, the tight end who was in motion, stopping him and bringing him back as a pulling lineman to make a block, and it paved the way.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be an option to the right, and they came right back and handed to Lumpkin and had the lead block instead of a fullback. They had a hidden tight end. That was very nice.
So for Georgia, third down, and they need about 10.5 yards for the first down. Virginia Tech still with 2 timeouts remaining. And this running play is he'll keep it very conservative. A couple of yards gained on the play, and Rouse will make the stop.
Well, Mark Richt said, and I like the fact that Virginia Tech, did Virginia Tech take that time out there? I
think they did, because in looking up at the scoreboard, they did have 3. Let's see if they take them to 1.
Yeah. And I like that.
Yep, I only got 1 left.
Yeah, but I like that there. You've got to save some time. I mean, the game is just going to melt so fast. I think you should try to keep 1 timeout in your hip pocket, but I like this this strategy.
So in the second half, it has been just a deluge of touchdowns. Milner right there with 1. Then there's the little counter play I was talking about, and you can see the big tight end there blocking, and then Sutherland, the fullback, crashes into a right tackle, and they have put themselves in a position to win this ball game.
And they finally got their talented freshman quarterback to settle in.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
and in the first half,
forced a couple of balls.
The opening series where they had the 45 yards and they got the field goal, it looked as though that, he might have an okay night. And then they went into 3 or 4 straight series with a 3 and out, and it was not a good situation.
Their next 5 drives, they had 2 total yards going into the half.
Then the interception and a 54-yard kick return. But he has really righted himself. And boy, you got to give all the credit in the world to the coaches and whatever adjustments and the talking with him that they had at halftime. It obviously did a lot of good. Gordon Kelso, the senior out of Athens, boots the ball away. This is an end over end, and boy, wow, that thing, because Virginia Tech was very close to blocking it, he had to kick it in that direction, and I mean, it is terribly short. This thing is going to wind up being about a 15 or 16-yard boot. 16 yards is what it will be. Now, Virginia Tech gets the ball. This will be their best field position of the second half. And let's say with 5:36 left, they put it in the end zone.
And it was a bad snap, Ron, that pulled Ely Kelso over, and he never got set. And Virginia Tech was bringing some pressure, and then he had to rush it.
Now it is Sean Glennon who has got to calm down and say, hey, teammates, let's get on into the end zone here. We're certainly capable. Short drop, quick throw. The ball is caught at the 20-yard line, and that's David Clowney, the senior out of Delray Beach, Florida. He's the man. Well, he's shaken up a little bit. He's going to stay on the field and play, but he is so fast, and he gives them vertical capabilities that they don't have with the rest of those receivers.
Right, but if he can't run, you've got to get him off. They've got other receivers healthy that they could get out there.
But keep it on the ground, and the running play will pick up the first down or bump down by Jeff Owens. And it'll stop the clock for just a moment. 1 timeout remaining for Virginia Tech, and we have 4:45 showing on the clock.
Virginia Tech player is down. Looks like one of the offensive linemen.
And now Clowney has come limping off the field from way across the way. And this looks like Danny McGrath, the redshirt senior left guard out of Herndon, Virginia.
Well, and they may have to move Schumann. Schumann, remember, was injured against Clemson, hasn't played much. They may have to move Schumann to guard, or excuse me, Schumann to center. You better be working some snaps on the sideline. McGrath working to his left. Oh, and he just grabbed it right there as the big pile came on. But you haven't worked any snaps, and it looks like to me that it is Schumann who has gone in at center. Boy, you'd really, well, shotgun, so that's a little better than being under center.
Crowd comes to life. Clock runs again. 4 minutes, 38 seconds remaining. Deep in the pocket this time. Throws for the end zone. Has a man there, and incomplete. Morgan could not hold on. Johnson and Evans with dual coverage, but the ball was thrown a little bit late. Otherwise, that would have been a touchdown.
You know, it wasn't a spiral either, Ron. Watch how this ball flutters in the air, and I think it slows it down. It hangs up in there.
You know that Morgan is saying, come on, get here.
Get here. Yeah. See how the ball's fluttering?
Wide open.
Yeah, the ball fluttered on Glennon, and it hung up there.
Evans was the man who got an arm on it. So it's 2nd down and 10. Good protection, swings it out, and that's Orr. Tries to put a move on the defensive back end. Brian Evans says, I'm not going anywhere. So back-to-back, nice plays by him defensively.
Well, the Tech offensive line has found a way to at least slow down the rush a little bit. They're going a little shorter drop. Instead of 7 steps, they're going 5 so that they can run Johnson and Moses by Glennon. Glennon doing a little better job stepping up into the pocket. And now on 3rd down, don't waste too much time, Ron, because with 10 points, if you don't get it, you kick the field goal.
Here we go, 3rd down. They got to take it down to the 6-yard line to keep it going. Either that or put it in the end zone right here. Zings it complete. That's Royal. He's not going to have the first down. He's tackled at the 12. And again, it is Brian Evans, a redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville.
Now, don't waste too much time. Get everybody out and get them set. You're going to fight the clock the rest of the game. So you got to make sure Pace gets out there and gets this thing off rather quickly.
Clock runs now. It'll go under 4 minutes left in our ball game. Georgia 31, Virginia Tech 21. As the Bulldogs have turned red hot here in the second half of play. 28-yard attempt. Good pass, good kick, and it is right through there. 3 minutes 41 seconds now left on the clock as Virginia Tech makes it a 7-point ball game. Brandon Pace comes into the ball game. He will kick it off, and obviously he is the good onside kicker.
Well, and Virginia Tech looks like they're lining up for an onside kick. The way they've played defense, I think they can try to kick this away.
Well, let's see. They're certainly setting up for it. Georgia with the good hands team. It is an onside kick, and it's caught in the air at the 48-yard line by Georgia, and it's Chris Durham.
Flag down. I think Virginia Tech may have been offsides.
Offside on the kicking team, number 25. 5 yards will be added to the end of the recovery. First down.
Well, they tried that kick. You know, in college football, you can't put everybody to one side of the kicker. You have to keep at least 4 men on either side of the kicker. So they tried one right down the middle where he popped it up in the air and just didn't quite get it high enough.
So the 5 yards extends the line of scrimmage now to the 46-yard line of Virginia Tech with 3 minutes and 20 seconds showing on the clock. Georgia leading this one in some kind of come from behind effort by 7 points as Sutherland tries to turn the corner. He'll have about 4 yards, and it is Wade, Kerry Wade, a redshirt senior out of Fairfax, Virginia, making the tackle.
Well, and if this holds up, it will be the largest comeback under Mark Richt.
Timeout called by Virginia Tech, and now the Hokies have none. They have no more left.
And it's going to be very, very close, Ron. I don't know, unless Georgia picks up the first down, I don't think they're going to be able to run out the clock.
Let's go down to the sideline and check in with Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Well, Ron, you've already mentioned the record attendance set tonight here with this great crowd at the Georgia Dome. Now, the Chick-fil-A Bowl is #1 in attendance among non-BCS bowls. They've had 10 consecutive sellouts. Look at the numbers for the ACC team. It's $3.25 million. That's the #2 team out of the ACC. The #5 SEC team gets $2.4 million. And look at the donations. $535,000 donated each year to various charities in and around Atlanta and Georgia, and $100,000 endowed scholarship to each school participating. Not many bowls can equal those kind of give outs to the schools and the community.
No, they can't. Let me answer a question to people in the SEC saying, why do we get so much less money? Well, if you want to move up in places as far as the better team to come here, then okay, that money will go up. But then you're going to disturb some other bowl games where those promises have already been made. That's the reason for the difference, the discrepancy in the money to the ACC and the SEC. Sutherland tries to bounce it outside. Going to be tackled at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down. And Jerry Punch, let's go back to you.
Ron, talking about moving up now, the SEC Commissioner Mike Slive is here, and they've been trying to negotiate over the past few months, talking about the Chick-fil-A Bowl people, to move up in the selection process in the SEC. What they have proposed is, why don't you let us rotate the 3rd pick with the Outback Bowl and the Cotton Bowl, because this bowl has gotten so big, the payouts are huge. If you want the ACC kind of money, give us a shot to get a better team or a higher ranked team in the SEC. And of course, Mike Slive is listening, but right now, the 3rd pick rotates between Cotton and Outback.
I can tell you right now, this bowl game here is going to do whatever it takes to move right on up there with the BCS teams, because they have really got their scholarship money going and going in the right direction. Their endowment continues to grow, and they're doing it exactly the right way. As Lumpkin is tackled, it's going to be a 4th down, and now Frank Beamer cannot stop the clock.
Well, and I think because the Lumpkin got down in there, it looks like Mark Richt is thinking about going for it here. 4th and about 2. I think Well, I think you punt this away.
No, I started to say, you don't go for this here.
Yeah, I think you got to punt this away. Yeah, he's got Stafford over. They're going to wait until it gets right down to the very end. But, again, go back to using those 2 timeouts when Virginia Tech was on defense on the last drive. That's why they're going to get the ball back with 1:25 or so left.
So the play
Offensive
clock.
delay of game.
Clock runs all the way down, and it runs to 1:31. And while both teams are talking it over, it gives me a couple of seconds to say farewell and also good luck to a really good friend of ours who we really love and respect. Jerry Punch, this is the last night he's going to be doing football with us because Jerry will become in 07 the voice of NASCAR on ESPN. Nobody's worked any harder, any longer, and deserves it anymore. Jerry, you have been wonderful, and thank you so much for being with our team this year. We wish you the very best of luck, my friend. Here's the boot, gets it away. It's a line drive, and it will carry into the end zone. So 1:25 showing on the clock, 44 yards on the boot.
And now for Virginia Tech. They've got 1:25. So they can take advantage of the middle of the field, Ron, as long as it's beyond the sticks. Anything else has to be on the sidelines. The problem right now is you've got Charles Johnson and Quentin Moses. You don't want the ball in Glennon's hands for too long.
So you see the numbers first half compared to the second half. From the shotgun pressure, they throw the screen pass and going nowhere. That ball is going to be tackled for about a yard loss. And again, 43, Tony Taylor with an outstanding defensive play.
Yeah, and Glennon should have thrown that ball away.
Nine tackles now for Tony Taylor.
And Glennon just, that was a dead play. He should have thrown it away. He's costing a lot of time.
50 seconds left in the game. Going to go long. He's hit just as the ball is thrown, and it is intercepted. No, could not hold on to the football. Brian Evans, that would have really kept off an unbelievable evening for him. Quentin Moses was the man applying the pressure, number 94.
I think right now you've got to think about something deep to the right side, but have someone slow down just beyond the sticks near the out of bounds. Got 2 receivers on the top, run one off and have one run an out route beyond the sticks and let him get out of bounds.
Third down. They need to get to the 30-yard line. Steps up into the pocket, is hit, and is going to be sacked. That ball is loose. It was recovered by Virginia Tech.
Well, I think the linesman came in and said he was down, Ron, so they're calling 4th down.
Moses and Johnson were combining on the stop.
Well, and this is just not, I mean, what an excellent get-off. Boy, Charles Johnson got off on Dwayne Brown so fast, there was just nothing Dwayne Brown could do.
4th down. Last attempt for Virginia Tech. Stepping up, gets the ball away, incomplete. 5 seconds showing on the clock. And can you believe it? Virginia Tech, after having such a what appeared to be a firm grip on this football game at halftime, the nation's #1 defense, and in the second half, Georgia has just totally had their number.
Boy, Charles Johnson just absolutely blows off the ball. Dwayne Brown laid out of his stance 2 plays in a row. They call him the big bully, and this game was won by the big playmakers at Georgia on defense. Tony Taylor, Charles Johnson, Oliver, these guys played lights out.
The guns go off, and now the fireworks, and the Georgia Bulldogs, under head coach Mark Richt, have come from behind in an improbable situation to beat a very good Hokie team who was just on fire coming in here, and their defensive unit ranked #1 in the nation, and the Bulldogs did not look at stats and numbers. In fact, at halftime, they talked with their young quarterback, Matthew Stafford, and all the kudos in the world to Mark Richt and also to Mike Bobo, because they settled him down completely. And also to the defensive unit of Georgia and defensive coordinator Willie Martinez. Boy, what a job they did as well. Frank Beamer's ball club played well, but 30 minutes is not an entire ball game, and it wouldn't work tonight. And let's go down to the sideline and Dr. Punch with Coach Rick.
Coach, 28 unanswered points to start the second half. What was the key to that remarkable comeback?
Well, we finally made a play, and then a special teams, that onside kick gave us a little juice, and a score after that, and momentum just changed, and we held on to it. Just a beautiful job by everybody.
Gutsy call on the onside kick. What prompted the call after the field goal you just made?
I'm sorry?
What prompted the onside kick call after that long field goal you just made?
Well, it was something that Coach Fabris had been studying, and he felt like it was there. It was kind of a check with me at the line of scrimmage. If it looked like it was there, we were going to do it. If not, we were going to kick it deep, and they lined up the same way, and we felt we had it, so we went ahead and did it.
How would you evaluate the play of your young quarterback in the second half?
It's fantastic. I mean, real proud of him. Proud of Coach Bobo and the job he did. Very thankful for what Neil Callaway did for our program, too. Want to wish him well.
I was going to ask you, what kind of marks would you give your new offensive coordinator in his very first bowl game? Hey, 31 points because the #1 defense in the nation, not a bad effort.
Oh, it was fantastic. And, of course, our defense set up a couple of those scores, and we finally won the turnover battle. Coach Martinez and his staff did a beautiful job, too.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Amen.
Okay, Jerry, thanks so much, and congratulations again to Mark Richt. This is the first time in Georgia history that they have defeated 3 consecutive ranked opponents. They finished the year defeating Auburn, then Georgia Tech, and tonight Virginia Tech. And every one of those ball clubs were pretty warm when they faced them.
Pretty amazing when you think they lost 4 out of 5 ball games in the middle of the season, stuck it all together, and run off 3 in a row against ranked teams.
So once again, our final score, 31 for Georgia, 24 for Virginia Tech in some kind of come-from-behind effort. Next on ESPN at SportsCenter. For more on this game, we'll be on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap things up. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. And now, along with Ed Cunningham and Jerry Punch, I'm Ron Franklin. Thanks for watching. So long from Atlanta. Now here is SportsCenter.